back with a banger. As with all good things, this season must too come to an end. I think it was a good season though. We had some good eps, covered some good brands. I'm not exactly sure what the season to season gap will look like, at least 2 months, but I do plan on reaching out to some of the brands we've covered to do Discord interviews to fill that void. Now for the last time, I hope you're feeling alright.
How you feeling? You feel
I present to you the final brand of Season 2, Boston/Atlanta's very own Mob Clothing. The owner is 19-year-old Zaire Nasir, who is really a jack of all trades, even doing some acting at the Huntington Theater in Boston, Massachusetts. He started grade school in Canton, Massachusetts, and then later moved to Cobb County, Georgia. While in high school, he studied graphic design and now uses these skills to produce all of the brand's graphics. Zaire is currently enrolled at the Savannah College of Art and Design for Fashion Marketing in Georgia, though this has had some complications due to the Rona. Along with clothing, he also makes R&B music, having about 20 tracks, and his most popular having around 5,000 streams.
Good girl from the city. Woo. But you do bad things on the weekend. No, I'm not tweaking. No, I'm not tweaking.
Zaire wasn't really into fashion growing up, though he did get into sneaker culture a little bit in 6th grade, and his style was influenced by brands like Jordan, True Religion, and Polo. It wasn't until 2019 that fashion finally caught his attention as he thrifted a sewing machine and started releasing one-of-one custom pieces under a separate project titled Nasir's Room, stating that up until this point he really only considered himself a graphic designer. Also important to note, alongside the custom cut and sewn pieces for Nasir's Room, he also released experimental designs like this one right here featuring a barbed wire graphic. Mob originally started as Munchie Mob Global when it launched in July of 2018 with the slogan "Hungry for Success, a brand for hustlers," which Zaire has admitted was kind of cringe, though it was necessary to get the brand where it is at today. And honestly, everybody can look back at where they were in terms of fashion a couple years ago and wince a little bit. The brand also has a character called Mr. O, though he isn't very prominent in their newer designs. Around November of 2018, a chenille patch hoodie saying Mob, M-O-B, was created, spurring the idea of the use of an acronym for this M-O-B, eventually leading to the name Maintain Optimistic Beliefs. With a rebranding, Mob now had a new agenda, stating we focus on providing quality garments while spreading optimism and positive messages through our clothing, stories, and connections. Further stating, optimism is something that's learned. It has to constantly be practiced. It's a mindset, lifestyle that is developed. The key word in our name is maintain, because it's easy to have a short burst of optimism, but that's not the goal. Our goal is to help others be optimistic, but also maintain their optimism. This sounds very similar to what we saw from a Headco, but less cringe, and personally I don't think brands really need to be putting these statements out there. Like, nobody's going to stumble upon their website, read this, and have their life changed, though there definitely are certain types of text and like stories and blog posts that I like to see on these streetwear startup websites. I think when it comes to this certain like idea or aspect of the brand, I'm a big believer of letting the clothes and then also the brand actions do the talking. To circle back around and talk about the rebranding, Zaire explained how in the beginning he was just trying to make cool pieces that really didn't have any meaning behind them. This lack of purpose led to their relaunch in May 2020. The new launch started with their Teach Kids Love shirt, attempting to teach kids to love everyone and view everybody as equals. Zaire said he was scared to rebrand, but came to a realization that nobody knew who he or his brand was, having only about 500 to 600 Instagram followers at the time. He also said that success isn't determined by any long-term goals. Success is subjective. I know further down the road I will be what those deem as very successful, but in my mind, I'll just be getting started. Obviously a bold claim to say the least. As far as influences go, he listed fashion inspiration as Kanye, Virgil, and Sage Willows. He stated his design process is writing down ideas, narrowing that list, then integrating life experiences in a way that will translate on clothing, which is a process commonly stated by our interviewees here. Anyway, let's go take a look at their website so you guys can get a better idea of what I've been talking about. So here we are at the Mob website, and as you guys can see, it is a pretty basic Shopify website, so we'll pretty much just be looking at the designs to give you guys an idea of what the brand really stands for and the look they're going for. So to start things off on the far left, we have this Mob University, kind of like collegiate arc font with that orange on brown coming in the Cleveland colorway. You know, as far as a lot of their designs go, I don't think there's necessarily a lot to break down like some of the more complex designs we see from streetwear startup brands from time to time. These ones are a little bit more on the basic side. Not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but there's just not too much to break down. So I think the interesting stuff really comes when we look at the product descriptions. So for example, when we look at this Love You More design, which has these sparkles or twinkles all over it, it makes use of this kind of 70s hippie, trippy dippy font. We can go down to the description and note a couple interesting things. I'm pretty sure most of their tees make use of this boxy dropped shoulder oversized fit, and then we can also see that it uses a flocked velvet for the print. Moving on, we also have this What a Day to Be an Optimist tee coming in the sunset orange, as they call it. And I didn't point this out before, but we have this shirt is hand dyed to achieve a beautiful color. Due to the nature of this shirt being hand dyed, each shirt is unique in color and tint. Some may be darker and some may be lighter. And I believe this is actually a puff print piece, though looking in the description they don't have any details about that. But when we look at the price point, it's $54, and then just the flocked velvet ones are $50 usually, I want to say. Moving on, we have the Mom Look I'm a Star, and we have some like hand-drawn stars, and once again we're getting kind of this hippie font, which looks like they've been using a lot for their latest collection, which I actually think they just released the stuff today. But yeah, we have the puff print description here, or I guess it's making use of a puff print as well as the flocked velvet. We have the Love You More coming in a cherry colorway, this time $54, so it is still the flocked velvet. I'm not exactly sure what causes the $4 increase between the colorways, but there is one. Moving forward, we have the Support the Youth design, and on the bottom right you'll see they kind of have this like recycle globe design and then a heart, and this is very prominent on a lot of their pieces. Next up, we have a different font on the same phrase that they did before, What a Day to Be an Optimist. We'll say I'm not too crazy about this one. We also have the Busy Breathing in a creamy matcha colorway. I believe I'm possibly pronouncing that correctly. A lot of text going on here. On the front we have Talk to You Later, I'm busy breathing, and are you getting enough fresh air? If not, go outside, crack open a window, take a walk, and just breathe. Also coming in the same font as that first What a Day to Be an Optimist design we saw, we have this Wonder If You Care Still, and this is a puff print. Moving on, we have one of their older designs. I think all those ones we just looked at were a little bit newer, and this one has been around for some more time. We have Fresh Air, and like I said, in the bottom right we have those three designs showing up on the one of the sleeves, something about pine, it's like a mountain graphic, and then on the other sleeve we have this bullseye. Another design I've seen on here for a while is this Natural Springs one, which makes use of this bubbly cursive font and then comes in a very interesting blue dye. They're calling it the Springs Berry colorway, I guess. Kind of a cool colorway title. We have the Still Growing, Give Me Time in the faded brown, similar to that other shirt we saw. We got some text on the front and then the actual spell out on the back. We have Fresh Air coming in black. This one's a little bit more different than their other stuff. We have almost a Pulp Fiction, I believe, font. I want to say Pulp Fiction used something a little bit like that, or maybe like the Hateful Eight, some Tarantino film. Maybe it was Jackie Brown. I got no idea. But it says Art of Music Therapy. And on the back we have Let the Sounds and the Rhythm Move You. Allow yourself to indulge in every instrument. Feel the vibrations in your bones. Let the sounds heal you. We have a similar wash on this Dreamer tee to that Natural Springs one, though I feel like the Natural Springs one looked a little bit better, in my opinion anyway. So that wraps up all the products they have on their website currently. As far as the rest of their website goes, they don't have too much. We have the blog, which, not a whole lot going on there. Teach Kids Love. This is when they relaunched their brand. You got a little about section, which we've covered earlier. And then after this, I want to go to their Instagram just to show off some other pieces, specifically this Teach Kids Love one, which was really how they relaunched the brand, like I talked about before. And you can see 2 weeks ago they restocked this. So this is what was previously on the website before their most recent drop. The Teach Kids Love design, same font that we just looked at, or very similar to what we just looked at, and then coming in a ton of different colorways. I think they did a variation of puff print and the flock to velvet, which I think are really cool printing methods rather than just doing a screen print, though this obviously, you know, warrants a higher price point. And I think it's a little bit harder to persuade somebody who doesn't know about your brand to buy your piece, especially when it's at such a high price point. You know, some of these tees coming in at $54, which are, you know, well above that of Supreme and even Palace, though. The quality on these look really nice. I obviously haven't had one in hand, but they do look like they're some nice pieces, to say the least. And moving on from just t-shirts, they also do, you know, like a full sweatsuit, for example. I actually like those sweatpants too. Some custom Converses, which are pretty cool. They got the Teach Kids Love printed on the one side, and some other stuff. We got some sweat shorts in that creamy matcha colorway, which I think is a pretty good looking colorway. You get the like creamy white and then the forest green, or, you know, maybe a little bit brighter than a forest green, but it looks nice. They've done some tie-dye stuff in the past, but yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys from this brand as far as their pieces go. And with that being said, we will get back to the rest of the video so I can give you my analysis and wrap up this season. A lot of the designs following their relaunch are reminiscent of Cactus Plant Flea Market, which I mentioned to Zaire, who admitted to taking influence from them. Overall, I think Zaire does a great job at mimicking other styles, which can be observed when looking at his music and its likeness to The Weeknd, as well as his clothes and the parallels drawn to Cactus Plant Flea Market. And obviously this is going well for him right now, though I think he may eventually need to pave his own path to continue being successful. And this point could really be countered when looking at some of his Nasir's Room designs, though they could also be argued to be similar to that of brands like Vlone or Revenge. Another important thing to note is the age of the owner. He's only 19 years old, which I think explains a lot of the naive statements and decisions he's made with the brand. And he's obviously also made many successful moves and shows great promise. So I think it will be interesting to see what he comes up with in the future. That's all I've got for you guys though. Like I said, this is the end of the season. It's been one hell of a ride. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.